EdTech Mondays Africa is supported by the Mastercard Foundation Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning and is part of the Foundation's Young Africa Works programming.
Glad you could join us on yet another conversation of EdTech Mondays Africa. Our previous edition, our panelists suggested ways we can accelerate digital literacy to benefit education systems in Africa. During the conversation, it emerged that empowerment of teachers to leverage technology to improve lesson delivery, student outreach, and achieve personal growth is of utmost importance. A 2021 projections report by the International Task Force on Teachers for Education 2030 revealed that more and smarter investment in teachers and teaching is needed to enable Africa's children and youth access to quality education, and that Sub-Saharan Africa will need to recruit about 15 million teachers to reach education goals by the year 2030. Now, being a teacher provides the unique opportunity to make a transformative and lasting impact on the lives of others, contributing to shaping sustainable futures and offering personal fulfillment. However, the world faces an unprecedented global teacher shortage, exacerbated by a decline in their working conditions and status. But with new technologies breathing life into education, the question is no longer whether structured education or digital transformation should be applied. It is now about how to do it most effectively. And joining us to discuss building digital tools that empower teachers and learners, we are joined by an incredible panel. Peter Mukaya Tabichi, teacher and STEM advocate in Kenya, is also the very first African teacher to win the Global Teacher Prize that was in 2019. We also have on the show Ahang Ditloho, who is the co-founder, The Clicking Generation, an ICT academy and social enterprise that offers computing and technology curriculum to children in both rural and urban areas of Botswana. Precious Oluwadansin Akinlolu, who is an educator and founder, Learner's Crib in Nigeria, an edtech company that provides online and in-home tutoring services for learners between the ages of 3 to 10 to develop their creativity using 21st century skills. We also have with us Elisa Hongwe, a teacher in Ndlovu Secondary School in Zimbabwe. She is a geography teacher with over 30 years experience. It's so great to have you all on this edition that we are dedicating to mark World Teachers Day. And to start us off, I'd like to pose the question to us all. How has the role of teachers evolved over time, and how are you as teachers adapting to technology-integrated teaching and learning? I'd like to start with you, Elisa, with over 30 years experience. Please tell us how teaching has evolved over time.
In the past, we used to concentrate more on the use of textbooks, would write on the boards. But currently, because of the ICT era, we are now using computers for research, typing our work, even having groups where, like WhatsApp, or we can be sending work to learners and also get feedback. A lot has changed, even the way we present our exams, projects, and so on has changed a lot because of ICT.
Precious, what are your thoughts on this?
If you ask me, I would say this is the great time to be a teacher because we are experiencing so much evolution in the education system. For instance, we are seeing teachers taking charge, bringing in technology rather than just relying on the traditional method of teaching. We see teachers taking professional certification because they have come to realize that this is 21st century and we have to change the methodologies we use in the classroom.
The 21st century class is very different from the traditional class. It has evolved a lot. And I would like to call it that the teacher has had an opportunity to become the learner in so many ways. So this is now the teacher being taught, and as well the teacher remaining the teacher to the learners in the classroom. Because technology has brought so many advantages with it, so many disadvantages with it. But it's up to the teacher to constantly require innovative ways to learn, to keep up. There's so many tech tools that are available. The teacher needs to explore these. They need to be innovative in the way that they deliver curriculum, they deliver syllabuses, they deliver different subjects. There's the aspect of the tech lingo as well. Tech is constantly changing, and these teachers need to know what's new, what's relevant, and what they can possibly leverage and bring to the classroom. There's an opportunity within even just being online. So the 21st century teacher needs to align and find ways in which they could possibly then help their learners contribute to this cyber world.
Right. Peter, I want to hear from you as well. What has changed for teachers, especially in the last 3 years? I mean, you won the World Teacher Prize in 2019, and then months later, we were all cast into this different way of learning. What has changed over time? And also, what are today's teachers required to have in terms of skills, in terms of tools? And do you think all these teachers around the continent have the skills that are required?
Initially, teachers was seen as custodians of knowledge. And with the advent of the era of technology, science and technology, we are seeing that changing to the situation whereby there are more facilitators in that they have to integrate technology, integrate ICT in their teaching the lessons. And I've seen that it's more of like trying to match the two, using the traditional method and also using this integrating ICT, which is really helping, like myself at an individual level during the pandemic. That helped a lot. Of course, there were challenges with the availability of the tools, the digital devices, but then we had to be creative. We had to, be creative enough to use the low-cost materials like the smartphones and whichever that was there. And also, you have to be adaptable and be ready to learn, continuous learning, especially on the modern days, on how to integrate ICT into the lessons.
Ahang, as the continent moves away from theory-based to competency-based education, what digital tools do teachers need to be empowered with to adapt to the current wave of technology-enabled learning? Because this is something that we are all hoping to learn out of this entire edition that we're having and this conversation that we're having today.
Competency-based approaches just speak to then how do we measure ability and skill from our learners, even from our teachers, to know that they have captured concepts across the different subjects. We need to ensure as well that the material that we are offering to our learners, to the teachers themselves through different training of trainers, how do we make sure that it is competency-based in that way? What manner of skills do they require in order for us to say that they can be learner drivers in a sense? Because it then becomes a license, to accelerate the EdTech mandate. I can speak to the different tools that the teachers can use. They become as low tech as using maybe WhatsApp and being very intentional about the way in which we communicate. That's a low tech solution, but it's fast, and then it can be explored to bring a whole lot more meaning and achieve the different tasks. We can talk to collaborative tools, how then in different places can we collaborate to save time for effectiveness, efficiency, and how can we possibly bring best results? Because this is mostly used by different teams, who are not necessarily always in the same place. And one key game changer is the internet. When the internet is used to bring change or used in the right way, it becomes an advantage. It's a game changer by itself. So when these online tools are used, it means communications, things like email to communicate to parents, to guardians. This just changes the whole thing. So the digital competency framework is going to then, pave way for citizens of Botswana to then become what we call equipped with the digital skills that they need for the 21st century.
Precious, if you may also share with us, what do you think are some of the changes that have happened as the continent moves away from theory-based to competency-based education? What digital tools do you think teachers need to be empowered with to adapt to the current wave of technology?
Okay, now we are seeing that the learning we're doing now is learner-centered and not teacher-centered. So at the core, at the center of teachers' teaching, or whenever they are delivering their work in the class, they put into consideration that the end goal is for the learners to be actively involved in their learning. So anything they are trying to do, I want teachers to see themselves as just a guardian. These learners, they know so much. So we would want learners to give their own input and why we just guide them to achieve the end product. And then we can measure their level of intelligence or the rate at which they've understood the concept through our evaluation process. So we want to know, okay, have they been able to actually learn today? Do I need to review the work? Do I need to give them additional tasks? Do I need to bring in flipped learning? Do I need them to make research depending on the age of the learner? So we're seeing that teachers are putting learners at the center of their learning because they are the one we're trying to impact here. So I see teachers doing that a lot in their teaching and learning process.
Right. And so EdTech Mondays traveled to Rwanda. Teachers in Rwanda are now being trained and empowered on how to integrate technology in teaching under the Mastercard Foundation Leaders in Teaching program. And a good example is this student teacher we spoke to from the University of Rwanda who talked about the kind of technology that they're being empowered with. Let's take a listen.
My name is Olivier Ouamaho. I'm a student in final year dealing with mathematics, geography with education. We have learned how to integrate ICT in teaching and learning, especially in our subject of geography, where we have different softwares which we use, like ArcMap, which is used in GIS, which deals with the art of making a map. So it is done using different ICT tools. And I think that can be some of the application of ICT tools in subjects like geography. And I hope they are going to be helpful for me in the future. Because on the school where I'm preparing to go for my career for teaching, I will find there smart classrooms and even the students, and they need the skills that I own. So I have to master it more so that I would be able to share it to them so that they can understand more on how to integrate ICT, especially in their learning.
I like the fact that he's talked about, learning the art of mapping. And Elisa, you are a geography teacher as well. Looking at what he has talked about, learning the art of mapping, what are some of the learnings that you can share with us, where technology has been applied in your teachings? And also you could probably also add to that how you're incorporating technology when you're dealing with learners with disability, for instance.
The topic of GIS that he has talked about has been included in our geography syllabus, but the unfortunate part is because of the lack of ICT tools, it's mostly supposed to be mostly practical, where we need to have laptops, smartphones. So we are only teaching the theory parts, and I'm sure in my country, majority of the schools do not have the ICT tools that are required to do the GIS that is just talked about. So there are a number of problems within our schools that hinder us from actually embracing the use of ICT tools. The school that I'm teaching at currently is one of the fortunate schools that the government has invested in. In April, with a computer lab opened through the Portras, which is a department of the government, they've given us laptops, tablets, and so on. But in many other schools that are not so fortunate, the ICT tools are not available.
And so teachers are now, of course, starting to learn how to handle situations where there are learners with disability. And one of the teachers from the Leaders in Teaching program spoke about how the program has empowered teachers in Rwanda, for instance, with the skills that they need to handle learners with disability and how technology can help amplify the teaching process for them. Let's take a listen.
I have been teaching for 7 years. I integrated ICT in teaching by preparing lesson plans, by preparing schemes of work, exercise, homework for students, and also I use ICT when I'm preparing end-of-term exams. I also help students to make research by using ICT to solve different problems. I also integrate ICT in my teaching. I can use projector and I show videos related on the planned lesson when I'm teaching. I get more benefits for using ICT. Before I started using ICT in the teaching and learning process, when I get something I don't know, I failed to get it, but now I can use computer and I make research and I get something which is difficult for me, and I help students to know how they use those ICT tools to make a research and find out the solutions for their works. Also, before starting using technology on my schools, we have learners which have visual impairment. For those learners, we have learners which have low vision and total blind. For those students, when they start before using technology, it is too hard. But nowadays, they have record. When you are teaching, they switch on record and they recording what you are teaching them. And then after classes, they use what they record in preps, and those help them to study well because they use technology in teaching and learning process.
All right. Peter, I want to bring you into the conversation as well before I move to Precious. Elisa talked about how they do not have the technology tools and do not have the devices. And the teacher in Rwanda, if you listen to what she said, she talked about how technology has enabled her and other teachers in Rwanda to also reach out to learners with disability. But when you look at Elisa's situation, she actually thinks that there can be something that can be done if she had the tools that the teacher in Rwanda had. But do you think that there's something that can be worked out in terms of inclusivity where teaching is concerned?
There is much that needs to be done to ensure that there's an inclusivity, because a greater percentage of learners that many schools are not covered with the technology, the tools they need, they don't have access to that. So there is really this raises concerns, and there's need to ensure that they have access, including those in remote areas. The issue is also about connectivity. How do you ensure there is connectivity? Like in my school, it used to be a matter of concern, but then within a very short time, I think there was a solution. So right now we are connected, and then there's also about the digital devices. So it's not just about having the huge computers, like even simple devices like smartphones. That's something that can help. But at the same time, we also need to also ensure that the learners with disabilities are also given the kind of support that they need. It's not just about the access, access. It's also about teachers. How do you empower teachers? And one way of think that they are empowered and supported is by also ensuring that their conditions are good and they have the, the training necessary, because they are the ones who are going to ensure that this is implemented at the, on the ground level. Otherwise, you'll have all the policies, very beautiful policies, but on the ground, you don't have the implementation is very poor. So I think teachers, the social investment needs to be done among the teachers as far as, training, their training is concerned.
Precious, let me come to you now. From what Peter has said and what Elisa said earlier, you can almost tell that there's a bit of frustration with the teachers along the way. Not all of them, but just a number of them. And this has actually seen teachers leaving the profession to pursue other careers or to pursue other professions and occupations. And this could be just out of reasons like there are no textbooks in a classroom, and so a teacher gets frustrated and then they leave. So what is the role of technology in not just keeping the teachers in the classroom, but making sure that they are enjoying the profession and the experience of teaching with the benefit of positive learning outcomes?
Firstly, I like when teachers are proud of themselves. I am a proud teacher. And then when teachers see themselves as an important figure in the society, especially in the life of their learners, firstly, it boosts your self-confidence. You have to have this high level of confidence before you can feel acceptable. So one way that technology can help reduce the rate at which teachers leave the profession is when we provide access, not just access. We have some schools who have this laptop. We all know that technology makes life easier. It makes teaching and learning very easy. We still have schools, where they use chalkboard. We can have smartboards there to make life easier. We still have schools that they write their lesson plan with pen and paper. That's stressful. So school owners, governments need to provide resources that would help teaching and learning to be really, really easy for learners and then for teachers also. Another thing that would help learners teachers is when they belong to a community. There's this sense of belonging that makes you feel calm. You feel like if you have problem getting resources for a particular lesson, you can run to someone, and community doesn't have to be physical. I belong to Teachers Lounge, and I can tell for sure that for over 1 year, my life has changed. My teaching methodologies have changed because I can easily reach out to a teacher in another state here in Nigeria and get resources and get ideas. WhatsApp group is always engaging. We have peer mentoring programs for teachers where they're paired with a mentor. Currently, I'm a mentor for 4 other teachers, and then they are getting real value, and they're practical. They're not just theory, they're practical. What are you facing in your classroom? How can you make it better? These are the things you need to do. This is how to understand your learners. And now that we have learners living with disability, if you as a teacher, you're not equipped, you will get frustrated. So if we can do all of this, I believe that would have high retention rates and people would be happy to wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to work. I want to go and meet my learners. I think that's going to be good for them.
And you mentioned the Teachers Lounge. Do you want to tell us what happens at the Teachers Lounge in Nigeria?
Okay, so the Teachers Lounge is a community of teachers. We have a voucher platform for people that are outside Lagos. The headquarters in Lagos, and then they have a physical location in Lagos where they hold trainings. I think in about 1 hour, we're going to have a training, and then people would join, and people that can go to the physical location can also meet. And then it's so fun, and it's actually free at no cost. All you need to do is to join with your smartphone. You're good to go.
Great. I like that, but at least there is some level of connection that is happening amongst the teachers, and maybe that's a lesson we can learn from Nigeria as well. So to Precious now, I want to come to you just to hear, and Elisa as well, in what ways do education systems support coming in from the teachers? Because one of the things that we have experienced over time is that when technologies are being developed, the teachers are not consulted. Elisa, I want to hear your thoughts on this.
In Zimbabwe, we do have companies, the service providers. Some of them are providing connectivity to schools for free, which means the teachers and the learners can now access the internet. We also have competitions that are done to try and encourage our learners to learn more about ICT. And then we also have them creating community centers where people can go and learn on ICT. The unfortunate part is all this is just done in general. The teacher is not very involved. There's no particular program that focuses on the teacher to improve.
Right. That's interesting. Precious?
I know that some school owners, because they cannot be left out in this discussion because they're important. I've seen schools send their teachers for professional development. The school where I worked recently, all the professional trainings that I attended were free of charge. So they are supporting their teachers because they know that when you are getting value from them aside your salary, you will be motivated and you will not leave. And then we have incentives. We have things like Employee of the Month. I got Employee of the Month twice. I got a Primary Teacher of the Year for the last academic session. So these are things that school owners, schools generally can also use. We also have innovators coming up with software. We had schools whereby when you get to third term as a teacher back then, you get scared because your broadsheet is so wide and you have to punch a computer. So we've seen innovators bringing in software which will make your data and then your collation of results really, really seamless and very easy. So these are ways that I have seen school owners and then innovators help teachers so much.
Great. And we've also seen that, when teachers are empowered, the results are amazing. And the Mastercard Foundation, in partnership with the African Institute of Mathematics and Science, prepares teachers in the 21st century using smart classrooms. And when that teacher is empowered, the benefits from this are incredible. Let's look at one of the teachers who has benefited from the Leaders in Teaching program.
For teachers, when they use ICT, first of all, the lessons are more understandable by students. I can pick, for example, some topics which are complicated to understand. But in case you are teaching them, concurrently providing some ICT tool, it becomes easy for students to do what? To understand. So the time we can also focus on how teachers also are facilitated by using ICT tools. In grading, for example, marking. Marking is very easy. In case you use ICT tool for teachers, it is simple. Apart from that one, also I can say, for teachers, the students are making research, as I told you. They get their full package, full knowledge because of making research.
Revising the content and also allowing teachers to be able to navigate their teaching lessons or planning out their lessons as well. And you can almost see that he's a very confident teacher based on the experience and the testimony he's able to share. Peter, I want to come to you now because where governments or policymakers are concerned, there seems to be a bit of gaps, but I guess we can navigate some of these gaps as well. So my question to you now is, to what extent do current educational policies or governments support a holistic implementation of education technology? Because we are now in a century where the learners are just as smart as their teachers, but they just need to be guided. And we are wondering if the policies and government support is commensurate with the needs of the teacher and implementation of education technology.
There is always, an effort to ensure that this is well supported, that teachers are able to integrate ICT into their lessons. They are able to use technology in the classrooms. And I can say already they are quite a number of years, the government has been trying, it is level best to do that through policies and guidelines. Could it be through the Ministry of Education and through the Teacher Service Commission? Myself as a teacher, I've witnessed that. I've interacted with quite a number of those policies which are already existing, and they keep revising them from time to time. Until recently, there was a working party, that's the Presidential Working Party on Educational Reforms, that was formed a few months ago. And I think technology was one of the areas they were looking at. And when I looked at that document, it's technology is the way to go. ICT, on how to ensure that teachers are able to integrate ICT, and that in that document, I was able to see that most of the subjects, all the subjects have to be facilitated through ICT. So it's like ICT is going to be the main tool for ensuring that learning is happening well. And then the other thing is also they are a thing of investing in technology tools, internet connectivity, and also the training, which is quite good news. So we hope that in the few months to come, that's going to happen. But however, I've seen already the existing tools, the digital tools existing. The way you said at the beginning that there's a gap. So we have the developers. They have very nice tools. They look very good, but there is misalignment. They are not aligned with what the teachers need, the teachers and learners need. So which means they don't kind of like interact so that they're able to know exactly what are the needs on the ground. So they need to work hand in hand with the teachers so that they'll be able to know which are these needs. And I think there's also a gap there. And if that is achieved, I'm very sure we'll have learning and teaching is going to be very easy.
There is need for continuous development. There's need for intentional effort to improve, to learn new things, to keep up with the different changes. But one thing that I have noticed and appreciated, and I sympathize towards the teachers with this, is that it appears that our learners know more about technology than we do. So then this becomes very intimidating to the teacher. It becomes intimidating to the way in which they deliver that classes, they deliver that content, that material. But we should look at it as being exciting. These are exciting times that we need to explore and put aside time for us to learn. And it's not easy. I can imagine that it is not easy, but constant, there are always free online courses that takes away the intimidation. You can learn as groups of teachers, maybe within subject or a unit, and help each other along. And it is okay sometimes to say, can I get assistance or such and such? And with time, you eventually get the different concepts and deliver your curriculum. At the end of the day, we need to, as teachers, as educators, we need to remain hungry. Hungry in such a way that we want more. We want to take it more.
And Lisa, I want to hear from you as well, because I know that I was just going through your profile and I was seeing that you've done so many certifications, online distance learning, online distance teaching, and so many more. Tell us a bit more about that and how that has helped you as well in your teaching profession.
It has helped me a lot. I once had an opportunity of teaching at a very, very private school where the school would subsidize acquiring of laptops. They wanted to create a paper-free environment. So everything that we're doing there was using the laptop. We would prepare lessons, would prepare our schemes. So it was such an exciting environment. Unfortunately, government policies changed. Then I moved to other schools. So what I do every time, wherever there is an opportunity for me to update my knowledge on ICT. I take it up. I'm trying to keep up with the technology so that, like you said, some of the learners know better than the teacher. I'm trying, after so many years of teaching, not to be challenged by my learners.
Right, I like that. You're staying ahead of the game, which is really good. Precious, I want to hear your thoughts around, the teaching profession and what the future should look like for teaching in Africa. We keep saying the year 2024 is the year for education in Africa, going by the African Union Agenda 2063. But, what does the ideal African teacher look like, and what do they need to look like going forward?
Okay, so an ideal teacher in Africa should be a lifelong learner. I think that is one of the things that keeps me moving. You want to be better than who you were yesterday. You want to wake up in the morning, oh, what's going on around me? What's going on? And I think I am passionate about inclusion, special needs, because we are beginning to see that these kids need help, kids with learning disabilities. So teachers need to embrace inclusion now. I see that we are still not doing that a lot. And then even schools here, when they say they run an inclusive environment or inclusive classroom, when you go there, they're not really giving that the quality of what it should be. So we need to train teachers, get therapists, let them know how to take care of kids struggling with dyslexia. We're saying technology. There should be equality. We cannot be saying, quality education and some sets of learners are not being carried along or they're just put somewhere. So I would want teachers to embrace inclusion, look out for that child that is struggling, do not scream, with empathy, because they have emotions also. With empathy, get to discover their challenges, create time. If you need to speak to your head of school, then they take it to the parents, and then these kids get intervention. So this is what I think an ideal African teacher should look like, since we all are embracing inclusion in the society and the world at large.
This edition is celebrating teachers. And Elisa, I want to know from you anything you would like to tell the teachers out there who are maybe 10 years into the profession and haven't gotten to the level where they can comfortably say, I've been in the teaching profession for over 30 years.
I encourage them to create activities that will make the teaching profession interesting. Don't just go into the classroom. Like, I create tours with my learners. At the end of the day, when I'm assessing what I've done, I see a lot of joy in my learners. They've acquired a lot of information and so on. So it's up to you as a teacher to make the profession interesting, regardless of all the other difficulties that you can have around you.
And Peter, to you, you won the World Teacher Prize in 2019. And I read somewhere that you have been giving about 80% of your income to the poor, especially learners and children. Do you want to tell us what has happened since 2019 after you won the World Teacher Prize, and how that has transformed how you are executing your work as a teacher today?
I can say much has happened. Some I'm unable to recall, but for now, let me just say what I've seen. I've seen great transformation in the access to education for my learners and also teachers and even the community. Maybe starting with my school. At the beginning, if you look at some of the video clips, it's like I used to say, we don't have classrooms, we don't have computers, we don't have this, we don't have teachers. We have more support from well-wishers and the government and other organizations. We have access to water, we have access to, we have now more classrooms, we have more teachers, we have the technology tools I'm talking about. We have more computers, our school is connected with the internet. So I'm so happy with that. And at the same time, the students are, they're proud to be, to be part of the school. And I'm so happy about them. And what I've seen, more scholarship for students and the community also seen that, like now, the roads I was talking about. So I remember the homecoming, it was all dusty when even the Minister of Education was coming to the school. I think that time, in just a few years, it's now different. The road is tarmacked, and quite great. I don't want to attribute all that to myself. I can say that so many people have done their part, and I'm so happy when I see that. So that's why I find it hard just saying it's about me, but it's about teamwork, good support from the administration, the community officials, and the local, leaders.
I was quite encouraged by seeing those videos that were played earlier in the show. This is inspiring because it just shows that we can be each other's encouragement. As well, tech offers an opportunity. It offers tools, it offers all these concepts, which can be overwhelming at times. But I would just like to advise teachers, educators, even learners themselves, not for us to get overwhelmed, but to hold on to the principle of Ubuntu. Ubuntu always brings us back home, that although we are within all these advances, we are within all these cyber, very exciting times, we need to always come back home to ourselves and remember who we are, our values. It is also very important to remember character and discipline in all of this, and to remember that there are values as Africans that we hold very dear, and we shouldn't lose ourselves, but rather we should take this technology, own it, difficult as it is, but also make it feel like home somehow, and maintain that classroom that has dignity, that has respect.
All right. Thank you so much. And I guess that's a good way to end this conversation. I would like to appreciate you all for making time for this conversation, where we have been talking about really empowering teachers with digital tools so they're able to pass them down to the learners as well. And thank you, Peter Mokaya Tabichi, teacher and a STEM advocate here in Kenya. And he's also the 2019 World Teacher Prize winner, the very first African to ever win this prize. And we also had on the show Precious Oluwadansin Akinlolu, who is an educator and founder Learner's Crib in Nigeria, an edtech company that provides online and in-home tutoring services for learners in Nigeria as well. And we also had Elisa Hungwe, who is a teacher at Ndlovu Secondary School in Zimbabwe, a geography teacher with over 30 years experience, and Ahan Ditlotlo, co-founder, The Clicking Generation in Botswana. Thank you all so much for making time. And until the next one, I think my key takeaways here are adaptability, and we've also learned about inclusivity and making all tools accessible to all teachers so they're able to pass them down to the learners. Thank you all so much. Have a great one, and it's been fantastic having you on this conversation.
EdTech Mondays Africa is supported by the MasterCard Foundation Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning and is part of the Foundation's Young Africa Works programming.